Alright, I have to try again because literally I tried to do one of these just now and I shotgun through everything I wanted to talk about in like 2 minutes, and I think also kind of rushing to say what I wanted to say, I didn't think about how I wanted to say it, and you know maybe I'll explore this further in the video, but one of my favorite sayings is it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. But yeah, so welcome to whatever episode of the Decompression Chamber it is. It's in season 2, but I haven't done one of these in way too long, so I'm just getting right back on it. And our opening quote is going to be from the TV show The Good Place, which I urge you to watch. And the quote goes, "What matters isn't if people are good or bad. What matters is if they're trying to be better today than they were yesterday." Roll the intro.
One of the meat and my steamer is broke. Fuck the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at a turn of your words. One of the meat and my steamer is broke. Fuck the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at some little words. Or margin hot stop and duck knock and rust stopping for cigarettes.
So yeah, that's something that's really important to me because recently I've been going through a period of just like experiencing a lot of anxiety, and it's easy for my mind to spiral. It's easy for me to have one problem, and then that one problem in my brain becomes 5 problems, and those 5 problems become 10 problems. And if I just focus on taking the next best step and just doing right by me, then not just doing right by me, I mean just like focusing on what I can do to just do well by myself, then I do things better, really. It's easy in my head for one small problem or a few small problems to feel like massive, like cataclysmic, Armageddon level stress, when in reality life is almost always more simple and more kind of positive in terms of its outcomes than I expect them to be. I feel like I am a pessimist at heart, but I try to be optimistic. I try to be positive because I recognize that positivity attracts positivity and negativity attracts negativity. It's one of those strange laws of attraction, But sometimes it doesn't really feel like you have a choice over the matter. Sometimes you just wake up and you just feel like today's going to be a shit day. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about that. And there's some days where you just wake up, you look out the window, it's a sunny day, or maybe you like a rainy day or whatever, and you just have that feeling. Today is going to be it, And stuff doesn't always play out the way you expect it to. It's easy to get stuck in your ways and think, just because this is the way I think, this is how things are going to be. But you have to be willing to let yourself believe that things are going to change, because otherwise, well, life's pretty hopeless at that point, isn't it? The only constant is change, right? The only thing that changes is that stuff's always changing, and yet something that I find is weird is that you have that constant up and down in life, peaks and valleys, and times where I feel like so happy that there doesn't feel like any of my problems in life can really affect me, like can really slow down my stride, when on the flip side of that, sometimes I hit a low and it feels like that's all there is. It's just that feeling of being in that low, whether it's depressive, whether it's anxious state. For me, normally it's caused more from anxiety than anything. As I said before, one problem becomes 5 problems become 10, and in reality, what I do sometimes, I'll just write down what I'm anxious about on a post-it note. I realise normally it's a couple bullet points. There's a few things, and if you look at even those individual things, they're not that big of a deal. And so, sometimes I just have to try and appreciate the simplicity and the beauty of life, even when it's not right here present in the face. But yeah, so I don't really know what order of things to do, because I feel like there's a lot I could catch up people on, or I could talk about my recent experiences, or what I'm looking forward to in the future. But it's spring, it's about new beginnings, so let's consider something like that. I mean, there's been high highs and low lows in the past like month and a half of my life. I feel like I've learned a lot about myself, and about the way I think, and just about the way I view life. I've been going to see a counsellor a couple of times at school to have kind of discussions about my anxiety, and how that affects the way I think and how that affects my life and the reality of the world I live in. One of those examples is the counsellor pointed out to me that I use a lot of should statements, when I'm speaking about myself. I kind of imply and I put this pressure or kind of expectation on myself that I should do certain things, that I have to in order to do well or to kind of be happy, when in reality sometimes things are just the way they are, and it's not about whether I should, it's just about what could be better or what might be better or what would help me or what would not help me. And that's just something that I wouldn't have spotted out myself unless I'd spoken to somebody who's clearly trained at seeing these things. And yeah, like naturally, well, not naturally, I guess, but just anxiety is a feeling that gets in the way of me doing what I want to do. Whether it's in the context of something like this, and in like a social situation, or just even like within my own relationships. I think I'm often concerned about how others respond to me and the situations I'm in and how others view me and how I'm doing, what my progress is like in comparison to my peers, or all these kind of things. And a lot of these things, they trouble me without me even realizing. I spent a little bit of time thinking about it, and I realized, wow, I've been holding a ball of stress here, and I should really just try and let it go. I mean, I'm not going to bombard you with quotes, but that's one of my favorites from The Life of Pi. It kind of after this huge revelatory experience, which ends up being tied somewhat to spirituality, the main character, who goes through what most people would consider to be a highly traumatic event, he says, in the end, life becomes an act of letting go. And it's strange. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to really embody that, a quote that I've been, not a quote necessarily, but a motto that I've been living by recently is that it's one thing to know something, it's another thing to feel it, It's one thing to know that you should be able to just let things go, but it's another thing to actually feel like that's something you can do, or to feel like that's actually going to improve your experience. I've seen on the internet an example be used where it's like, if you're holding onto a rope, if a real strong force pulls on that rope sharply when you're not expecting it, if you hold on to it, the rope's gonna burn your hand. When in reality, if you just let go, off it goes, But every situation has its own context. Every problem exists surrounded by other problems or surrounded by other situations, and I don't know. It's not to say that I'm alone in this thing, because I've got so many good people that support me, and so many people that care for me, and that I can rely on. But I feel like everybody's fighting their own battle at the same rate. We're all alone in this together. Like, I feel like even when everybody has a similar thing they're dealing with, or some sort of problem that other people can relate to, just because of the way they experience life, because of the way they think, because of the way they deal with things, it is a unique and personal battle. It's never easy. It's never easy. Even people where I've thought in my head before, like, oh, it must be just so calm to be them, must be so easy, when in reality everybody's dealing with shit. Everybody's troubled by something, even if they don't show it. There are many times in my life where I've been absolutely fucking up to the neck in anxiety, and I've had people who are close to me remark that they wouldn't notice. And it's not to say that they're not observant people or they don't know it, but it's just like, I think part of our experience is not letting on how bad sometimes it can get. Maybe that's just me. I think something that I just struggle with in general is being vulnerable, It's why I talk about myself and my problems alone in my room to a camera rather than directly to the face of some people that it might benefit to hear, or it might benefit me for them to hear, And again, we all deal with things in different ways, and I can ask myself a bigger question of, am I making these videos for my own emotional catharsis, or am I doing it for some sort of benefit to the audience? And I'll be real honest, I just do it for me. I just do it for me. It pleases me greatly when people tell me that they've enjoyed the videos and that somehow they connect to them. But in reality, I'm just speaking about what's in here. You know, I always feel like I've got so many thoughts. Such a funny thing to say, isn't it? Everybody's got a lot of thoughts, but I don't know. Sometimes it feels like they're just in a wheel spinning there, and if I don't find an off ramp to that road, then it's just going on an infinite loop. You know. And so maybe I can just park some of those thoughts here and leave them behind. I'll be honest as well, I remember these going so much smoother and so much quicker. Like, I'd be able to just kind of find my pocket, just be speaking. I wouldn't even be looking at the time signature on the camera. And now I can feel it. I can feel each time that I pause, each time that I come up with something to talk about, it requires an extra little push. And that's through no fault but my own. I should have been doing this more. I mean, last year when I was in lockdown and more confined and more kind of downtrodden by the situation of me being able to create, it kind of gave me that impetus to create, to make these, to talk about this stuff. Whereas this year, A, it's been busier. I've had a lot more going on, but B, I don't know, I just haven't really felt that pressure. And something that I tell myself is that I should make one of these every time I feel like life's going too fast, and the reality is life is going too fucking fast right now, and it's hard to just stop and appreciate it. I mean, fucking hell, how did I not even get to this, bro? Even just this week, I worked on a BBC shoot as a location marshal. Like, one of the biggest things that's happened in my, like, film production career. Like, it is the biggest thing. But yeah, I had a couple of friends who were lucky enough to get on a shoot, and I was fucking steaming because I overslept for the meeting that gave them the opportunity. And all the people who got on it were deserving in that, but turns out one of the people couldn't return for the night shoots that they were doing a few weeks after, and you know, I can only be eternally grateful for the people that put my name forward as a supplementary person, you know, and it came with a sacrifice. My family took a family holiday to Italy, which I would have liked to be on, and was very privileged to have the chance to, but it was a very easy way up, very easy option. You know, BBC show, like, that I get a credit for, and you know, meet some people that might help me my career in the future and get to learn more about the industry. It was an amazing experience, and I'm very glad I did it. But you know, these kind of situations, they start to kind of inform you of the life that living in film production is, the sacrifice you have to make, and the toll it takes on your body. You know, when you're low on the ladder like I am, carrying stuff around is kind of difficult. Carrying like a gazebo on your shoulder, you know, a distance that you shouldn't be doing, and working nights, that was tough. The next couple of days afterwards, I felt completely fucked up. I was thinking to myself, how do people do a whole week of this? But it was amazing. At one point, I was like laying down kind of mats to protect the floor of the homeowner in the house that we were filming, and I kind of just look over the banister, and there's some Patagonia wearing dude just kind of having a look around, and we make eye contact, so I go hi, and he says hi back. You know, I kind of think nothing of it, and later in the day I'm informed that that's the director. You know, so it's kind of cool. And you know, I had an interaction with an actor who I think I'm not allowed to name, but when I was informed of who it was, I was like, wow, it's kind of crazy. And so yeah, that was a fucking crazy experience. Last couple of weeks have been really, really cool, really intense. I probably shouldn't have procrastinated the work like I have, but you know, that's life. All life is lessons and learning, you know. I feel like a lot of what defines who I am comes from my upbringing and being raised by two teachers. I feel like they're always looking for lessons for me, for us. I've got a new catchphrase as well. Well, it's not just me, but yeah, nah, if anybody here knows Malik, you know, to pocket that ooh-ah.
Like pocket that ooh-ah, sweet Jesus, pocket that ooh-ah.
I might throw a clip in, but my editor, who's me, It's kind of lazy, because last time I said I was going to throw clips in and I just didn't, because I barely even scanned through what I was... I don't know, I don't really like listening to myself for 15 minutes when I'm editing, but I guess no one else is going to curate it but me, at least until I get some sort of acclaim. But yeah, so as of late, things have been going well, yet somehow like cast to a backdrop of intense anxiety. What else? It's just crazy. I'm nearly two years through university of a 3-year course, and this time next year I'll be looking at the real world and real life, man. It's scary. It's scary. I'm concerned. Harassment alarm. I'm stressed. LOL. I'm scared. Yeah, that's gonna need context as well. But yeah, I shouldn't be spinning my wheels anymore, because speaking for 15 minutes has been tough enough as is. But for those who are watching, for those who somehow aren't watching and yet hear this, I appreciate you very much. I'm glad to be back. And if you ever got stress or problems in your life, I hope that you have somebody you can talk to about it with, because if you just bottle that up inside, it becomes a whole lot more difficult to deal with. That's my experience. So yeah, treat people well, treat yourself well. Lots of love.
Your bleak turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at a turn of your words. Run at the meat and my steamer is broke. Fuck the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at a turn of your words.
Witches on my head, wishing that we could waste what whisk up the eggplant. I need a solid dragon. Whole country can't rest on a wing. Since that never sing rings promises and went in. Which one's for the second of the 10th? 10 toes, tone down, 5 spit on it. My event point it. Try rap from it. Some little profit on my